Ah, recording in progress. Well, hello, Maika.
Yes, hello.
How are you today? Honestly.
Okay, honestly, as I said before, I feel like shit. But that's how I do since a few days, and it's all right. But this morning happened something interesting. I was yes.
Can we try something for a minute? Before we begin, let's meditate for a minute.
Okay.
Let's calm down. I can feel in the beginning, it's a little bit, there's some rattling. Let's do some breathing. I need it. Maybe you need it too. Hello again.
Sorry.
You don't have to be sorry.
That's how I feel.
And that's an honest answer to how you feel. So, and that's okay. Just like the little illustration that I sent you once of crying just empties the feelings. And yeah.
I don't even know if I can speak, but
You can speak.
I know.
You can speak.
I know.
This is, as Sharon mentioned to you, this is part of the process. You're already in the process. You're already on the way. And that's part of it, you know. It's going to make the journey itself that much more passable, meaning you'll pass through it a lot easier than suppressing and then letting that suppressive wall fight the journey you're about to embark on. So this is part of it. But I think it's deeper than this, if you'll allow me to keep talking. I think it's deeper than this. I think you have started this journey 2 years ago. right? When you changed your life, when you moved where you were living, when you changed how you live, that is all a part of this same journey.
I've already prepared my tissues because I knew that this would happen.
And that is there's nothing to say that that's absolutely an okay thing. It's again, it's part of the process. It's yeah, I
You know, that's interesting that you say that, because right when I came back in the car this morning of my search teacher, yeah, maybe surf teacher, I realized that it's 2 years ago now that I quit my job. I think next week or something.
and that's when you began your journey.
Right.
That's when
Yeah.
you really began your journey.
Yes.
And what you're doing, if you allow me to make an analogy out of it, it's like deciding you wanted to start on this hike, this long adventurous hike, and it's a climb, and it's hard, and it's exhausting, and it's it really wears a person down. But what you're going to experience later this week is arriving to the peak of this mountain, this Himalaya. You're going to arrive to the point to where not you're going to be so-called healed. It's not what it is. You go to the peak to be able to see everything. You're getting to the top of the mountain, and you're going to be able to see all in your life. That's what this is. It's going to tell you everything. It's going to show you everything. And then you'll come down and you'll have a different perspective, which will change you, whether you want it to or not. In some way, it will change you. You cannot see your world differently after getting to this kind of height perspective.
Yeah. That's interesting what you say. Now we already started with 2 years ago, and I think that's, yeah, where the journey started. And seeing these 2 years now in front of me or behind me, it has been yeah, a long way, an interesting way, a way of growth, and a way of, I don't know, of breaking out of my own life, which was the best I could ever do. I think if I knew in the beginning what that meant, I don't know if I would have had the courage to start this. But the interesting thing is what's happening right now, that I thought about this, what's happening right now in the last couple of days, and I can see these last 2 years, like until the end of last year, it was kind of a journey of always improving, always growing, a lot of healing, a lot of yeah, also with my business of success, and then like a step back and a step how do you say in front, it doesn't matter. But at the moment, okay, no, it felt like until then, like I did a lot and I could also still in this whole path control a lot. But then there came a point where I feel like the last 2 or 3 months have been, I don't know how to describe this. There's so much light and shadow in this whole thing. It's been, I feel like I came to a point where so many things fell into place and are still falling into place. And in the same way, in the same place, I feel like running down a rabbit hole since a few weeks, maybe 2 months or more. And still, there's so much magic happening. But also I see that I'm not able to avoid anymore my own darkness. And it felt like in the last couple of weeks, it kind of took over control over me and over my life and over my behaviors. And I think that's also what makes me so sad right now. Because
can you elaborate why that makes you sad though?
Yeah, I'm trying to explain this. I mean, we were talking a lot about this anger I have, or I had in the last, or I still have, but not so much anymore in the last couple of weeks. And I still can't completely explain what that was. For those listening, this anger came up around Christmas. And because I was conscious about it then, it kind of came back and I didn't know what that was. And I still don't know exactly. But what I realized yesterday was also my body was showing this. That's what came to my mind right now. I had a strange something in my face, and I never have skin problems, like never. And I had this like under my eye. I don't know what the word is. Like what is that? A rash, or when the skin turns a bit red. And I didn't know what that was. It was so strange. And I thought, oh, it will pass, but it didn't. And a few days ago, I talked to a shaman, to Vera, and told her, what is that? Do you know what that, or what does that have to do with the skin? And she said, yeah, when you have something like that, it's a sign that you are angry at yourself. And that made sense, and I will explain this. The next day it was gone. This rash. And okay, where am I going with this? since I'm in this process, since I know that I'm doing this ayahuasca ceremony, I feel every day I feel more disconnected to who I was or have been until now. And that's a really interesting feeling. But in the same time, a lot of moments in my life and a lot of pain comes up, and the sadness I have right now is because I'm also a bit angry against because all of a sudden I can see all these patterns I learned in my childhood, these scripts that are running in my head, these things I learned from society, and it's like all of a sudden I can see that like a net inside myself which controls me, and in the same time I can see it like this in front of me, and I feel like this is not me anymore, and this has never been what I am, but it controlled me for my whole life. And this is what makes me so sad, because I feel like, do I even know who I am, or who am I without all this? And I can feel it, but it at the moment it feels like I'm laying down my identity and who I am without this. And this is, I don't know why this makes me so sad, but it's maybe also because it's a bit scary, because I can see and feel kind of who I am, but in the same time I feel like everything I have been up till now, my identity is like dying, and it's good. And in the same time I feel like I'm rebirthing myself, and this is honestly, I feel like I'm in this, I mean, I don't have children, but I feel like I'm in labor, and this it's coming like waves, these emotions and the pain, the emotional pain. And then in the next moment I had two very interesting moments this week. I think I can't remember when I felt as shit as I do right now the last time. I don't remember. And I feel so uncomfortable in my own skin and in my own body and in my whole who I am. And I know that this is part of the process. And then I felt like, oh my God, I don't want to do anything anymore right now. But then I had two very interesting moments this week. One was somebody booked a trance healing with me. And it's a long time I did that for one person. And I thought, it feels right to do it right now. And I couldn't explain this. And then I did it. And well, I did it for that person. But in that session, I had a moment where I felt like but in this whole weakness I feel right now, my whole body opening up, and there was like a huge light coming into my body, and I felt like, okay, what's happening right now? Because that felt so, I had the feeling this weakness or the softness of myself is opening me up for something. I don't know what it is. And then I had the next day, I think, another moment lying on my terrace in the sun, and I fell asleep. And then I woke up, and afterwards my eyes were just I was kind of still sleeping, but not, I was awake and my eyes were just a little bit open. And then I saw these like strange golden energy things in front of my eyes, and it looked so beautiful. And I saw this before, but these two moments were like, I feel like in some moments there's something entering my body, which is something I was not open for before. Does that make sense? I feel like I'm just talking.
No, you're letting it out, and that's part of the process. If you'll allow me to take just a little bit of time and kind of do a little bit of reflection conversation from one human to another,
Mhm.
and a lot of the things that you've said, and how yeah, I don't know, just to talk a little bit about it. This darkness that darkness and this who I am, both of these things that you mentioned, your identity crisis, because that's what it is. It's an identity crisis. First off, we've had a little bit of a conversation about this before, briefly, and in this time, I noticed that this darkness within you was very offended by this, and I found that very interesting for just for myself as a perspective, just as like how this could, something like this on another human could be affected by something as easy as someone telling somebody, how about taking a break from your strive to heal yourself? Like, take a break, relax. It's been a nonstop marathon of show me the light, heal me, let me heal. It's just, and I say this because you see this outside of the spirituality world. You see this in all through life. When you're around that one person that you know, that when you see them, they're just always super enthusiastic, super happy. They're just like all the time, hey, 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 hey. And they're just like, you never see them not glowing or basking. What is most people's immediate reaction to that? Nobody is ever that happy. They are hiding something very dark. That is always the case when people are just wearing this mask of, I am so happy, everything is good, I am healing myself. What you're doing is you're just suppressing that person. In a lot of people's different ideas and these open conversations that you have with people who are too happy in just everyday life, they are suppressing the darkness, which gives that darkness a lot of power because it condenses it, it makes it strong, it makes it whole. And that's why you see people like that snap. People like that snap and just on a wink, because they're not opening up and allowing these bad moods to show. Even if they're putting on a show, like, I don't want to show people that sometimes my life sucks, but that's suppression. And it just causes this thing that we all have as beings, because these things that you said that are entering your body and leaving your body, regardless if everybody on earth is in tune with that and sees that, none of us are special in that aspect. It happens whether we allow it to or not. What you do with that is where things can get off. And it's a perspective to be had, perhaps, that on these 2 years of you changing your life and you seeking all of this light, seeking all of this knowledge, seeking all of this self-healing and simultaneously helping others heal, that you have indeed, in fact, even more so suppressed your darkness, which is given that more strength within. And when it comes out, perhaps it controls you even more when it breaks
Okay,
loose.
I know, but I understand what you mean. And I agree. But it's not true that I haven't faced my darkness in that 2 years. I think I told that in one of the, I think in our first episode, that I already faced my darkness in it sounds so, yeah. Well, in September last year, when I was this week with the shaman. But the thing is, this I'm facing now is something different. It's a different topic.
Yeah, it is. And that is because it's simple as this. Darkness has many faces. Many. It has different reaction. It has different ways to get to you. For instance, you spoke about your identity crisis as well. Like, who am I? Who am I without this identity I've built throughout my life? And I think that's a fascinating conversation. I think that's a fascinating discussion to be had with all of us who are indeed these entities that are within our vessels, right? We all have in our vessels that we identify with ourselves as first, whatever this monkey suit consists of, in color and hair and whatever. So we identify in this, and then we identify what we do with the environment that we're in. So I do this, so I am this, and you're just consistently creating this false identity, because what you are is what you are, period. It's like my problem myself, we talked about this. I have a problem displaying my face on stuff like social media. Why? Because I have a massive disconnect, for whatever reason, that being anything remotely is to what I am. Because it's like, okay, whatever I am, I feel it. It's what reacts to things. It's what has been manipulated by society, and therefore I think this way in certain ways. Not the way that I'm thinking now, but everything that I do. But okay, so that puts me, this thing that's there is residing in this meat vessel that has dark eyebrows and a beard that's turned gray. And okay, so in that kind of example, I'm talking about this thing that I am in this meat vessel just because I'm within it. Well, I am also in this building that's pink on the outside and quite old. Am I this building? And it just goes on and on and on. And I had this disconnect with identity, because any identity you have is false identity. It's and this is why I cannot take myself serious when I'm posting a photo of my face.
Okay, I know. Yes.
Yeah.
But you know what? That's exactly why it is so scary as well. And I think for many people, because when you are not that face you show on the picture, and when you are not that building, or the woman in these kind of clothes, or whatever, when you are not everything of this, that what you really are is something that you feel inside. But what is that? And people, for me, I can feel that as well. But I think for many people, and even also for me, like I described earlier, it feels at some point a bit scary because it feels like dissolving.
I can understand that. And I can tell you that I spent many years of my teens and even somewhere around in my late 20s of not being able to sleep at night and having panic attacks as I'm trying to fall asleep, having these exact thoughts of what am I? What is this? And see that for me, like anyway, in this at this point of my perspective, I feel that what we are is what we've always been. See, that's the thing. Like this idea of what we can't, our freak out is this: we are computers. We take in information.
Yeah.
Everything that you know in your life is information that was absorbed like a computer. Okay. So this computer only knows itself as this thing that absorbs information. So you've absorbed this information as identities.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
but then understanding for yourself that no, you are something else entirely, that everything you know is not whatever it is that you are. Everything.
Yeah. Yes.
And that's, of course, I understand how fearful that is, but there's a point that I came to my life that is I just kept having these anxiety attacks, kept having these panic attacks when I was in my teens and the 20s about these thoughts of death and like, what is it? That I realized that the only thing that, and this helped, I don't know why this helps me, but it does, this solace of understanding that the only thing I'm aware of is right now, and right now is right now.
Yes.
And for my understanding is that is infinity, if I feel it.
Mm-hmm. And it's at the moment, it's this dissolving I explained. It's not scary for me anymore. It has been. But okay, I want to explain something, because I like this picture you just had with the computer. We have always been who we are, but what we learned when we grew up is something that was put over above this what we are. So the interesting thing is that at the moment, I feel like there's a lot of change happening. Well, in the world, but also in my own business. My business changed a lot. And at the moment, I felt like, and I have to explain this because it's, I think for the people who know me and also the people who know me on Instagram and stuff like that, it may not look like this. But at the moment, I feel like I hit rock bottom. Like I'm at 0.0. Like that's how I feel right now. And of course, also if I zoom out and see myself from an outside perspective, yes, for me, I can see this point where I am, which may feel like rock bottom or 0.0 or whatever, but I can also see where that leads to. But the interesting thing is that in my personal life and also in my business, almost everything that worked up till now doesn't work like this anymore. And that's a sign to change. And that's also why I, at the moment, kind of, I'm forced to take off the mask, whatever that mask has been, because I was somebody who said, yeah, I'm authentic. I'm trying to be authentic, as authentic as I am. And I think I was, but for myself, I was still hiding. I wasn't, okay, I think I haven't been completely true to myself. And so all these strategies and scripts in my head, whatever I was talking of earlier, are also something that we were talking about these past 2 years. I was doing a lot and changing a lot and building up my business. And I'm talking about my business because building up my own business, that is personal development at its best, because the business is showing you always where the block is. So that's why I'm talking of my business as well. But all these strategies and all this doing and all these ambitions and stuff like that, they worked till a certain point, but now they don't work anymore, because I'm at the point where I am forced to take off this mask to be really true to myself. And that's also what hurts so much, because the thing is, a lot of what I did, and this is, I'm exposing myself right now, because a lot of what I did was also ego, doing it for somebody else, or doing things to get recognized or whatever. So this what's the word, facade has also cracked now. And I feel like, okay, if this doesn't work anymore, yeah, it's, I feel like, okay, now I feel like I said, at this point where I'm not able to go with my own old patterns and strategies. And so I really have to look inside and see, okay, who am I? And
maybe that's it. You said something. You said a couple of things that I want to react to, and I want to tell a story that might be kind of abrasive, but whatever. You said, "Who am I?" Maybe we should stop asking this question. Maybe that is a question that we cannot answer in this simulation of experience that we were in. Like, there are people that just don't, they build their identities off, everything that life gives them, their nationality, their, their color of skin, their sex, they just, there's, and then their education, and then their, it just goes on and on and on. Just just the levels of foundations and of false identity is just so much that most people don't even realize that none of that is real. Like, and all of it is temporary. If you were all these things, they all reside in this world. All of those things are going to die. But the existence of whatever you are is always there and will always be there. All these other things are fragile, and as you said, a facade. But maybe we should just stop asking these questions. Like, maybe that's a point of perspective where, okay, first it's like, wait, who am I? I'm not all these things that society tells me that I am. And then we go on this journey of discovering yourself. You always hear that, right? I'm trying to connect with myself. I'm trying to understand myself. What if there's a point that you get to down the road of that where you stop asking that question? Because I don't care who you are, you're not going to figure that out in this world. You're not going to have a definition that's ever going to be enough for you to understand that. Maybe you have to get to a point where you stop asking that question. Not you, but I'm talking about whoever's asking themselves this question. And interesting enough, I want to go back to what you said, maybe not portraying the full you and trying to make people happy and gain respect within, in this case, maybe a spirituality world. And this is another pattern of humans. We do this in all facets of life. People want to be respected in the athletic world. People want to be respected in the academic world. People want to be respected in the spiritual world. And it just goes on and on and on. This is another human pattern. And we do not want to expose weakness. We want to show the power of strength. We want to show the power of almightiness. That way we can ascend to the levels that we wish to ascend to within these specific worlds and human creations, because that's what they all are. Spirituality is something that humans created that makes them feel better about connecting differently. It's all it is a human creation. So all of these levels of human creation, we as humans, as these machines of absorbing information and trying to understand itself simultaneously, we put on a play, we put on a facade, we put on a mask. And it's very, very, very rare for someone to be completely transparent to the journey within that. And this is for two major reasons. One, power and ambition give you fuel. Weakness and flaws give you insecurity. That's the opposite of gas. So people avoid that. They understand that how we are built as humans, we need positive push. But there is poison within that, because when you suppress these realities of what we have to endure in life to achieve these levels of expectations that we have in any of the fields, what's quite interesting is that there are certain fields in life where failure and this showing of exhaustion is accepted. Sports is a great example of that. People are okay watching people struggle and work out and kill themselves and fail and tear tendons while they're doing whatever. They can absorb that view and then watch people triumph through that. But spiritually, people tend to shy away when people show their transparency in the struggles they have with their spiritual self, whatever you want to say. People, not just the person who's conveying this, but the people who are observing also like, whoa,
Yeah.
what's happening here? That I can't learn anything from this person because I'm feeling some darkness. It's rare to get that. And the reason I say this is because a friend of mine who has been doing a lot of good over the past few years and helping people out. The moment this friend of mine started showing some true transparency, this person was getting messages from people saying, "Are you okay? Oh my God, I saw your thing. Are you good?" And this is the example that I'm giving, that people cannot handle certain things because it gives them their own anxiety.
Yes.
And they should, and what we need to learn as a society is to accept the reality. And that's how we all are able to like, okay, you're down right now. And that's part of the process, just like the athletic world, right? So it's a difficult thing to navigate. Um, okay, I keep saying we talk about the spirituality world, but this is a subject in many subjects of the human lives, right? And some things we accept and some things we don't, you know.
Okay, yeah, can I say something to
Mhm.
this? Because this is also exactly, I think I told you, there was somebody a few weeks ago asking me where my spark was gone or why I lost my spark, and what would be wrong, what was wrong with me, like, and I thought about this because in the first moment I was like, I didn't lose my spark. And then
Mhm.
in the next moment I felt like, yeah, there's some truth to it, but it still hurt. But in the same time I felt like, and why is that a problem?
Mm.
Because we, as you said, we cannot always shine. It's not possible. And in that moment I thought, okay, it took me a while, maybe a few days, but I was okay then with, okay, well, then I lost my spark for a bit because I'm in a process, and because I already felt this whole change and everything, and something inside coming up, and it feels, and the interesting thing was that normally when you feel like this, you go inwards or don't show yourself on social media or whatever anymore, because then you deal with yourself and then you come out. But that's the lie, because the, everyone comes out and shows up when they feel good. So the interesting thing is that me in that moment, I was launching a product, and I couldn't just, or I thought about it, and then I thought, no, I don't care. Then I feel shit. I don't care feeling shit and showing myself. And that's what I started then. And that was the moment I realized that I don't care how people think who I am or how I am, or if I look good or bad, or if I have my spark or not, because that's their opinion and that's what they see. But yeah, the truth is I lost my spark in that moment. But I don't know if that's true, because sometimes also, oh my god, there are so many topics now coming up, but also all these people think they always have to be in high energy when they show up, but that's also fake, because then they push themselves like in a high energy, but that's, if it's a fake, it's also not a high energy. And that's the thing, we can fall and be in a dark place but still be in a high energy. And but maybe that's another conversation, but that's what I want to say is I accepted having lost my spark, and even though showing up anyway. And that was a huge process for me, because I don't care anymore if I have a spark or if I don't have a spark. And the interesting thing is that in this insecurity, what you were talking about, and in this weakness, I felt uncomfortable for a while, and I still feel, because this week I feel like, so as I said in the beginning, I feel like shit, and I feel like I've never I haven't felt this in this kind of uncomfortable for a long time. But in this feeling I am now, in this discomfort, I also discovered some kind of elementary strength. And that's also something I haven't felt for a long time. And that's something very important, because I feel like there's something new growing out of this weakness. I stop now because I don't know where I'm going with this.
No, that's oh gosh, you said so many things that I wanted to say a little bit of something about. First, for our listeners, I treaded the waters light on this one, but she picked it up and she just took out the light. But that friend I was speaking of was you. I think you knew that.
What?
That friend I was speaking of, who had this issue with people reaching out to her, that was you. I was just
Okay. Okay.
I was just not gonna put you on the spotlight, and since you did it yourself, that's beautiful. That's great. Okay. But yeah, there's so many things to say. And I had this really crazy kind of, even like a visual. I know I'm speaking all spiritual now. Are you tuning in, kids? I kind of have this kind of vision. Because you said something about elementary, and that threw me back to children. And I was thinking, it's just, I think, and maybe this is also connected to the sadness that you have, or maybe this is just how I'm connecting to the sadness that you have. Maybe that's it. I'm connecting my own sadness to your sadness and understanding what my sadness is for this. But I feel that there's only one thing we can truly do in our species to change these perspectives, to change these conditions that we have. And this will be the most unselfish thing to say, because I think it's too late for us. The only way you can do this is do this with the next generation of humans. You have to nurture them better. Us, it's too late for us. We are going to battle these conditions until we die. Things will get better, things will get worse, but this fight will never end. That much I know. I don't care who you are, this fight that we have in ourselves right now, there's no end to that until death. It's only going to be what we're able to handle, what we're able to conquer, but the war won't end. The only truly way that we can do something for the greater good, that is to raise our children better. Less conditions, more acceptance. And this vision that I had while you were speaking was this of a child who is just outside kicking the ball and having like kicking a soccer ball, right? Just all the confidence in the world, just having fun, just kicking it and running after it. But then the parent coming up to them and saying, you've got to do this better because Cristiano Ronaldo does it like this, gives them this massive expectation. And suddenly this child who is just experiencing kicking this ball and doing things so intuitive and just embodying this experience that they're having, suddenly starts thinking through their parents' perspective. I've got to kick it better this way so I can be more professional that way. I've got to do this so I can succeed better. It's suddenly that other human's perspective penetrates the mind of the child and takes over. And this is what we do in everything in life. We give, our parents gave their expectations to us. Their parents gave their expectations to them. And this is why the sadness comes over, because I think it's too late for us. It's too late for us. We're going to battle. We're going to be warriors. We're going to win some. We're going to lose some, but the fight's never going to end. The best thing that we can do is turn to our children turn to the ones who are not here yet. And this is where we can make the real change, the real difference. We can teach them perhaps that none of the identities that I give them, Leonardo, your last name is Hallman. You are a part of the Hallman family. You're going to carry on our name. You're not Hallman. I named you that. I didn't name you that. In fact, my father did. No, his father didn't. His father did. I don't know who gave us that name, but I'm just passing it down because that makes me feel proud. And this goes with every ideology that we have. I think the only true thing that we can do, again, is turn away from us being the things that we need to save. We can save ourselves by saving, perhaps not saving them, but not infecting them as much as we do.
Yeah, and it's so good that you say this, because that's maybe also, I was fighting these things I grew up with for a long time. And that's maybe also something, like you said before, this, yes, we can heal a lot of things, but we cannot fight some darkness inside of us will stay forever, but we cannot fight this, or we cannot suppress this all the time. It's not possible, because it's growing bigger then. And so that's the point. We have to fight less, accept more, and shed the light on it, and see things differently, or change the perspective, or flip it, as I said. So that's what I hopefully will. I mean, the process is already going, so I feel like there's already something happening in my mind, which is kind of a shift, but I can't articulate this right now. But I some things I can, but there's something happening. But that's what that is, to integrate this and not fight it anymore, because that's also something we were talking about this a lot, that was exhausting for me in the last 2 years. And that's also something what I realized in the last couple of weeks, that it also doesn't work, because I have always been a person who does things, and who is driven, and who fights for blah, whatever it is. But at the moment, it feels like this also doesn't work anymore in this way I did it. It may be something good, and I think I will be forever the person, if I see something I can do, I will go for it. And I'm not somebody who's so afraid of going for things, even if I don't know exactly how. But what I have for myself, I have to do less and be more, and surrender to whatever there is in front of me, and not trying to figure out everything. Okay, and how do I do this now? Because what I realize now is more that, yes, I have my visions, and yes, I also feel where this is going, and I also kind of if I can say this, I don't know, but I kind of feel or know why I'm here. If I can say it like this, I don't know, but I feel like I know more than I ever did in my life before. Okay, so, but what I really have to learn right now from this whole situation is that I don't reach everything with wanting, or this because we as humans, we want so much, and we think we can reach it with wanting, but that doesn't work. So it's more like surrendering what's in front of you, and this, okay, this sounds very spiritual now as well, but this is, I can't say it differently. It's like surrendering to the divine, and we already saw a lot of magic happening in the last couple of months. So yeah, no, I stop here.
I'm glad this is the perfect, what you said is the perfect thing. I'm so glad you said what you said, because I'm going to take this moment of what you said to change gears. And I'm going to take this surrender to the divine. And I'm changing gears to what you're about to embark on. For those of you that probably have read the title of this already and listened to the opening, this is the pre-Ayahuasca session recording of Maika's journey into the medicine, the nature's connection, nature's medicine, being that, particularly this one.
Okay, and we are 3 days before this session.
3 days before the session. And the reason I'm going to take this moment to shift gears and change change levels, I would say, and and use the springboard of surrender, particularly to the divine, is that as I did the same in 2019, I went on my own nature's medicine connecting, but with a different substance. I say substance, it's not substance, it's nature. They were mushrooms. And I did this in Switzerland. I also know that the things that I was going through leading up to this, and for a while it was fear. For a while it was heavy emotions and so to say, fucked up, as you called it. I'm fucked up. I don't feel good. This is how you described it, and that's how I was at one. But then as I got closer to my journey, and maybe this was part of my diet, I don't know what it was, but I suddenly changed my perspective, because look, this feeling like shit that you say that you've experienced the last couple of weeks, do you know that this is the darkness being like, oh shit, oh man, this is happening, I can't stop it, she's going to experience me along with everything else, I need to make this as uncomfortable for her as possible. So this is the darkness within you freaking out. It is uncomfortable. It is what you need to, like, allow the darkness. You need to leave it alone. Just let it be. Just be like, okay, you're confused, so just be confused. What you need to, the level I'm telling you that I wanted to shift to, is you need to give now your focus to your light. Because what you are about to embark on is going to be one of the most beautiful things you have ever experienced. This much I can promise you. I've been there. Change your outlook. Get excited. Be like, come here, you big, dark, ugly monster in me. I'm going to give you a hug. And he's going to be like, oh, I would give you a hug. Yeah, you're going to give me a hug and you're going to like it. Embrace what you're about to do. Connect with your light going towards it. Look at it as an adventure, because you are indeed about to go on an adventure. Life is about to unveil what's behind this simulation that we live in. It's going to give you a peek into this other world. Get excited about that. Let the darkness be confused. Let it wander around and be like, oh God, what's about to happen? Because that's what you've been focusing on, is the dark. And I know, because I did the same. Just focused on the darkness and its uncomfortableness leading up to this. And it is speaking through you, the letting you know it feels like shit. It doesn't feel good. It's scared. It is scared. It's about what's about to happen. You're about to shed some light on it. So be the light. Connect to the light. Get excited about what you're about to do. And because both of you are going, the light and the darkness are both going down this path, and there's nothing you can do about that. So surrender to the divine. You said it. That's what is going to happen.
That's so beautiful what you just said, because that's also something, and beginning with this eternal strength I was talking about, and that's, yeah, I felt like in this whole weakness and sadness and everything, and you explained that so beautifully right now. It's so true. This strength I felt, there were, how can I explain this? A feeling or pictures of me, of myself. I saw pictures of myself where I am going, and that doesn't mean I don't exactly where I'm going. It's just, I'm a very visionary, visual person, and I always have these pictures in front of me. And I also felt like at this point where I am, and I'm very grateful for this, because I feel like I don't have any other option than going this way now. And at this point, this is where that strength came from, because I felt like, okay, I can see the light over there. And this is so powerful and beautiful. And that's why I also can say at that moment that the light and the shadow are both there. And it's such, honestly, this process, these 7 days before, where I also started this diet, before this ceremony, it feels like a sacred process. I can't describe it other. It's so beautiful, even if there are waves of pain. And yeah,
that's it. You're taking your light and your darkness with you, because that's what we are. They're both going down. But and I did the same thing, the same thing as you're doing now. It's easier to focus on the darkness in this and its uncomfortableness with what's happening. But if you just glance over to the light, you'll see it being like, let's go, bags are packed. Do we take sunscreen or no sunscreen? What do you think? They're ready to go, because they know it knows where you're going. And you're dragging your darkness with you, whether it likes it or not. Think it is pulling a temper tantrum, and you're dragging it, kicking and screaming. I don't want to go. Look over there. There's some pain over there. You want to go play with the pain? Let's go play with the pain. It's like you're dragging it to this mountain, this peak, where you're going to be able to see and understand, and it's going to forever change your perspective. It will forever change the perspective. And something I said earlier, again, is you speak, I have visuals, because I'm also a very visual person. I said that I just said earlier that the only thing we can truly do to make a difference is to do better for our children. And maybe that's it, right? Maybe that's the identity that we seek. That's who I am. I know it's been said and explained many different ways, but I just had a better understanding with this, is that indeed, yes, we can only do this with the children. You have to reconnect with your own child within you. There it is. There it is. That is the you. That is the
Yes.
you before the everything else. That's the closest thing to you you'll ever know. Everything else was given to you in labels. And this is
Yes.
This is what's happening in the world. This is exactly the main disruption in the vibration throughout our societies globally, is this attachment to identity. Ukraine and Russia right now, they're just two different places that we randomly picked out on a map, but this goes on. This is throughout our society. It doesn't stop. It goes everything from racism to nationalism to, and for whatever reason, I can't take any of it serious. I just can't take none of it serious, because we're just a bunch of buildings, right? We're just a building saying, I'm a pink building, you're a white building, you're on this side of the street. I don't like you. You're not like me. How dare you? Can't talk about my pinkness. How dare you? You know, it's all it is. We're inside of these things. We're playing these roles and we're confused. Children don't do this. Children get on the playground and they think they just interact. They just learn. They just play. The closest thing to what we really are the children, the child in us. And yes, if our child in us can connect with the real children that are there today, that's how we really make a difference. That's how we change the vibration throughout society. That's the only way. And yeah. Anyway.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, that's it. That's exactly it. Yeah.
It's so funny. I have to say one more thing, and I noticed this earlier when you were talking and you were speaking about identity, and then you said you were talking about something else, and you go, "That's the lie," and I was like, "Boom, there it is, identity, the lie."
Yes.
Because that is it. That's it. There's your billboard. You know, I feel like there needs to be billboards all over the planet. Identity, the lie. We're having an identity crisis. Look at the pronoun stuff. Everything is identity. Everything is identity that we struggle with. To success, to failure, to how we process things, everything is identity. But we're just a bunch of kids.
It's also interesting that you mentioned the war topic, because I had an interesting realization or thought. I mean, you know, I live on the Canary Islands, and yes, it's true, I don't live in Germany anymore, and I don't read so many news, so I don't get affected by what's going on right now so much as other people. Of course, I do know what's happening, and people also tell me, even if I don't read the news so much. But I was thinking about this. The interesting thing is that I think yesterday or something, I told somebody and said, you know what? This war in the outside doesn't affect me so much, but at the moment I'm having this war inside. And it's always, I mean, this may also trigger some people, but it's all we see in the outside is inside of us. So if we are, the war inside is the war outside is the war inside. So if we feel powerless, what to do with this situation in the world, we, of course, we cannot do anything, but we can change ourselves, and peace always starts within us. And the only thing I can do right now is, and that's what I really, I mean, I know that I can't do anything with the political situation and stuff like that, but I found it quite interesting that I'm in this place where I am now with my own inner situation, exactly in that time that outer war happens. So for me, myself, I really thought, okay, yeah, that's my work right now. I do my work, and I'm dealing with my inner war, and I'm on my way to I work on my inner peace, on the balance, like we always talk about, but we can all only start with, if we want to have peace in the world, we have to get inner peace. That's the only thing we can do. And the more people do that, the more you will see it in the outside. And the integration of this darkness inside, the shedding the light on this inner darkness, is the way to do it, because that's the only way we can step into wholeness and into inner peace. So yeah, maybe that's also why I'm telling this whole story, because it sounds a bit cheesy, but I also want to encourage other people to have the courage to face your own darkness, and to yeah, not being afraid of the discomfort we are in then for a while.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like this is another subject, and we may go too off course if we start talking about war, but I do want to respond a little without making this a whole entire subject. But I was talking to Jacob just yesterday. He visited me, and that's another friend of mine. And he's very empathetic to things, especially worldly, and this war has him all stressed out, like it does a lot of people. And everybody just wants peace. Well, this is probably also going to be sensitive for people to hear what I'm about to say, but for myself, it doesn't make it any less true. There is no existence of only peace. There never has been. There never will be. We have a war right now. We had a war 2 years ago. We had a different war in a different place, and a war before that, and a time before that. It has always existed, and it always will, because this battle that you're speaking of that happens with us, as you said, happens on a massive connection as well. The dark and the light is here to battle. It always has been. It always will. One will never conquer the other. This war, it's horrendous. People are dying. It's pathetic. It's pointless. But it's no more insignificant or more significant than any other war that's ever happened before and will happen after. It's just what we are. And it's never going to end. And there is no I said earlier, we need to stop asking these ridiculous questions. We need to stop having this ridiculous notion that there's ever going to be peace, because there's not. You're going to have to accept there's never going to be blissful peace in this thing that we're in. The history of it will show you your own personal life and the battles that you have with yourself, with your family members, with your extended family members, with your friends, and so on and so forth. It resides in all levels of life in this simulation that we're in. And I think if we keep going, we'll get off subject completely. But yeah. And it's weird that he took comfort. He took a little comfort in like, yeah, it's almost just like, you're right. This thing that has me upset now is the same thing that's always really happened. It's nothing new. There's nothing new about this. It just changes its geography a little bit. It's the same thing. It's the same thing in your own life. Allow yourself to have these wars. Allow them to happen. Suppressing them gives power to one of them. You know, maybe our suppression of peace in the world allows these certain people to gain all the power.
Yes.
Maybe that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Maybe this like, I want peace. Let's live in peace. Yeah, while you do that, this darkness is just like within you. It's getting stronger. And then it can do what it wants with you when it wants to, because you're giving it power. I don't know where all this is coming from.
No, and that's exactly why I'm saying, or you also say this, we have to deal with our darkness and it's not suppress it. Because that also goes along now with the fear we are talking about since the first episode, because if we, they use our fear. So, but we're really going into another topic.
We're going to know this, but we always, just like all of our other podcasts, we always come to this beautiful climax like we are right now. So you know what that means. I think it's time to say goodbye.
Yeah.
But the last thing that I'll say is don't forget about the light when you're going to your journey in the next 3 days, because they're both going. But what you want to concentrate on going forward is what you're going to experience more of. Like, you're kicking and dragging and screaming the darkness with you, and it doesn't like it. And you're noticing and you're feeling that it doesn't like it because it's making you feel like shit. But this lightness is over there going, I'm excited. Let's go.
I am already very excited.
I'm
really looking forward to this experience. Yes.
Embrace it. All right. Until we see you on the other side.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Yeah.
Bye.